Hello, everyone. Ex-Wallkill Bethelite here. And I don't think that people should look to marry Jehovah's Witnesses if they want to have a strong family. I definitely don't think that women should marry Jehovah's Witness men if you want to have a strong family, because they tend to prioritize watchtower, what they would call the organization, and pursuing prominence and a position with that organization takes precedence over their family, their wives, their children if they have them, and the safety of the family and the well-being of the family. And I looked up Samule Herd because someone asked the question: if Samule Herd dies, would the governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses select another token black guy to keep people happy, to keep people from leaving? Well, I Googled Samule Herd just to see how old he was, and an article pops up that's on jw.org. I think it was put out there in May, that reinforces what I was saying about men who are Jehovah's Witnesses not looking out for their own families. And Samule Herd is a good example of that. I read the article where he and his wife are telling their life story. And Samule Herd grew up in a tight-knit family. His father was a farmer, provided a roof over his head, provided food. According to Samule Herd, they had the things that they needed. They had food. They had a roof over their head. His mother was involved with nurturing the children, nurturing the family. His mother took him to church. Sounds like for the time period that he was living in, he had a pretty good, close-knit family. When the article mentioned that Samule Herd was taken to the Baptist church, they didn't mention his dad. More than likely, his father was at work providing for the family. That's why Samule Herd had a roof over his head. They had a farm and they had food in their stomachs. It's because his father prioritized the safety and the well-being of his family over trying to pursue positions in a church. So it makes no sense for Samule Herd to do the opposite, because he wasn't raised that way. That takes thought. That takes a decision to say, I'm going to use my family as a stepping stone so that I look better in watchtower organization. I'm going to tell my kids not to go to college. I'm going to have my wife out knocking on doors. I'm going to have my family doing things that are not in their best interest, but make me look good so I can get a position. It makes no sense for Samule Herd to do that if he was raised by a father that taught him the importance of hard work in providing for the family, which Samule Herd says in the article that's what his father did. His father instilled in him a work ethic. As a matter of fact, Samule Herd went into the military, and I'm sure his family had a lot to do with it, his father and his mother. His father probably said, hey, we need to find a career for you so that you can provide for yourself and take care of yourself. It sounds like he had a nice family. So then how do you become the opposite of that? This has always fascinated me because I was born and raised a Jehovah's Witness. I was raised, my father was not a Jehovah's Witness. My stepdad was. So I was raised around someone who was always up on platform talking to people outside of his family, always studying with everybody else outside of the family, always focused on how he looked and how we were presenting ourselves as far as if we were raising our hands. Just concerned about looking good in front of people so that he can get a position with Watchtower. So I'm raised with that. So you would think it would make sense for me to not know any better growing up, but Samule Herd had to know better. He had to know better. Everything about his upbringing says that his family taught him well. So he goes to the military, and when he comes back, he sees women out handing out magazines. And I'm not going to fault him there, that he goes over and drives over to him and goes and talks to him. Because a lot of men, this isn't an unnatural thing or not, this isn't abnormal. There's a lot of men that end up going to a church. Why? Because they saw a woman that they liked and went to her church to impress her. And Samule Herd sees women. One of them he obviously finds attractive because that's who he ends up marrying. So he sees women out with the watchtowers and whatnot, and he goes over and talks to one of them, and of course he ends up marrying her. And again, I don't fault him for joining a religion because you liked a woman. That happens a lot. That happens a lot. Is it right? Probably not. But it happens a lot where a guy sees a girl in a church and he don't even care what the church is. He don't care if it's a cult. He don't care what it is. He's joining that church because that's where this woman is and he likes her. So Samule Herd becomes a Jehovah's Witness. You can just read the article yourself. Put 2 and 2 together and you come up with 4. He saw a sister he liked, and all of a sudden now he went from being the complete opposite of a JW to being a JW. That happened because he saw a woman that he liked. So he goes, joins the cult, marries the woman, and that's where it gets kind of bad because why would you have your wife pioneering? You grew up, stable family. Your father apparently had good sense in directing him and providing for them. And you, Samule Herd, then have your wife out pioneering. Now, why is this such a big deal? Because during that time, racism was really, really bad, as in, violent. It wasn't just, name calling. There was actual violence going on. You had the actual KKK running around. And this man that should be protecting his family, doing what's best for his family, has his wife out knocking on doors, wandering the neighborhood, going to random people's homes. Black woman wandering the neighborhood in Indiana at a time with the KKK everywhere. All this stuff going on. Obviously, that's not a smart thing to do. Really, really dumb thing to do. And again, it just emphasizes my point that women who marry Jehovah's Witness men end up marrying someone who will put them in danger if it makes them look good. If it makes them to where they can get a position in an organization. Doesn't matter that the position is unpaid. They just want to be prominent. They just want to be important. So his wife worked cleaning homes and went doing the dangerous knocking on doors everywhere. And he wanted to pioneer also, which again is the polar opposite of his upbringing and his father. His father worked, provide for the family. Samule Herd, I'm going to go door knocking. The complete opposite of everything that I was raised to do. And that's what makes me think sometimes people who were not raised JW, they know some of this stuff is wrong and they know that it doesn't make sense. They know it's not a smart thing to do and they do it anyway because they weren't raised to do it. You have people who are Jehovah's Witnesses who went to college because they weren't raised Jehovah's Witnesses. So they know that they wouldn't have the things that they have had they not gone to college. So they know then that when they hear from the platform them saying don't go to college, it's probably not a smart thing to tell your kids. Because you wouldn't have the stuff that you have to provide for them had you not gone. And you tell that to your kids anyway because you want to look good. I'm telling you, Jehovah's Witness men, a lot of them, not every last one, but it's not smart to take a gamble and marry one to just hope you got the one that's not like this. A lot of them could care less about their family in comparison to being able to get a title and get prominence and look good in an organization. So Samule Herd, is talking about him and his wife working, and Samule Herd is working in the yard. And they're doing this, because they want to knock on doors. And he says that in this article, he says that the family provided them a meal because they ended up working there all day. So the family provided them a meal. And his wife had to eat separate from the family. His wife worked inside the house and they had him working outside. And what he says is profound to me because what he says is the wife had to eat separate from the family in the house. And he had to eat out in the garage. You can't even eat with your wife. He had to eat out in the garage. And he said that this was a nice family. He said, they're a nice family. They're just caught up mentally in the things that was going on at the time. But it's okay because the meal was so good. That's when I'm like, okay, this is fake. You said that because Samule Herd said that because everybody he works with is white and he doesn't want them to feel bad. He wants to say things and make people feel good. So he says that this family that had him eating in the garage and had his wife off somewhere in the house away from them eating, that they were nice because they gave him a nice meal. He said that because he didn't want to upset anyone. You don't want to rock the boat, brother. So you also have him saying that there was segregation in kingdom halls, which there was back then. And he pretty much in the article says, again, that's all right. This brother is dancing all over the place to make people happy, to make sure the people around him are happy. He's dancing all over the place. That's okay that there was segregation in quote unquote Jehovah's organization. It's okay that Jehovah's organization adopted the view of the world because it would be dangerous for Watchtower to have, or for Jehovah's Witnesses to have men of color and, everyone sitting together. It would be dangerous for watchtower to do what it was supposed to do and not segregate people, which it may have been. But since when is it okay to adopt the viewpoint of the world, especially one that's obviously not Christian? And according to Samule Herd, it's okay to adopt the view of the world as long as it provides you safety, as long as it works for you. This is what the governing body member of Jehovah's Witnesses is saying. It's okay that families had me eating in garages and my wife off somewhere else eating. It's okay that there was segregation. All that racism, it just wasn't all that bad. This is the stuff that you say just to make people happy and to pacify people because you don't want to upset whoever it is put you in that position, because that's all you care about is your position. You don't care about your race. You don't care that it was wrong for them to have you out in the garage eating. It was wrong for there to be segregation, period, let alone in churches, because of the reason for it. All those things were wrong. That's what he should have said. He should have stood strong and flat out said those things were wrong. But these are the things that a person will do. Again, men, Jehovah's Witness men, these are the things that they will do because all they care about is how they look to people. They don't care about their family, their race. They don't care about anything. So you have Samule Herd saying all this, yet a black district overseer helped get him the opportunity to go into the circuit work, being a circuit overseer. That's how he got his opportunity. Is someone like him helped him out. And what does he do in return? Oh, it's okay for that white family to have had me out eating in the garage. That's okay, because they're nice people. The food was good in the garage. I got to play with the garage door opener. My wife off somewhere, I don't even know where she is. She's somewhere in the house eating. I can't check on her well-being because they won't let me in the house. Who knows what's good. You know what I mean? So you got people, a black district overseer trying to help you out. And what do you do in return? You say all that stuff was okay. Wasn't even that bad, really. We had good meals in the garage. Typical. I'm telling you, typical JW male. I grew up in a household where, my stepdad wouldn't have had the things that he had he not gone to school and got a degree. That's how he got the job he got. That's how he got everything that he had. But as soon as he gets in connection with Watchtower, he goes through multiple divorces, and all of a sudden then it's not a good thing to go to college. He knew it was a good thing to go to college. It's just whatever Watchtower says, whatever makes me look good. Family is not important. Why would you marry someone to be unimportant? Why would you marry someone that with KKK outside is going to have you outside knocking on the door? And not only that, the part in that article about them sharing TV dinner before they left. He could have had his wife pioneering, but he should have been working somewhere making enough money to where she had more than a TV dinner to eat. Does this sound like the type of life you want to live? You want to marry a Jehovah's Witness that's going to have you eating TV dinners and knocking on doors with the KKK outside? All for a cult that ain't even right to begin with. In the article, he talks about he asked his mother when he was a kid about the Trinity because he didn't understand. And this is very typical with a lot of Jehovah's Witnesses that came from other religions. He asked his mother about the Trinity because he didn't understand how the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit could be the exact same person. Did you pay attention at all in church? Comment down below. Let me know if I'm wrong. But the Trinity is saying that there's three separate persons in one God. There's one God in three separate persons. The Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. That's the Trinity. This man is in his 80s and is writing an article and to this day still don't even know what the Trinity is. A lot of Jehovah's Witnesses are a part of that cult because they don't even understand what mainstream religion teaches. They butcher the mess out of mainstream religion's teachings. They get that wrong. They get the mainstream religion's teachings wrong. So then they run to a cult saying all these other churches are wrong because they teach that the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit are the exact same person. No, they don't. There may be some that do, but I don't think that Baptist churches teach that. You comment down below and let me know if I'm wrong. So you have the typical JW, don't understand religious teaching, don't have enough sense to ask the pastor. Don't have enough sense to just ask the pastor, ask somebody that teaches Sunday school. They have Sunday school every Sunday at most of these churches. Just ask a Sunday school teacher. Quit making stuff up and saying that this is what these churches teach. So you have a man who was raised close-knit family. He saw the importance, Samule Herd saw the importance growing up of the family and for the father and the mother and the to be close because they needed each other. You had racism, you had poverty, you had things to where you needed family. And again, in pretty much spitting in the face of his family, Samule Herd spitting in the face of his family to please Watchtower, he joins a religion that promotes the breaking up of the family, shunning. So Samule Herd is the type of person that would turn on everything he was raised around. All the good things that his father and mother taught him in order to go to a religion that does things that you had to know was wrong. Because if you grew up in Indiana in a log cabin and you saw how hard your family had to work together to make it work and provide, you knew the importance of the family staying together. So for you to join a religion that teaches shunning and breaking up families and people not speaking to their relatives. My older sister hadn't, her father hadn't spoken to her in over 17 years. So, it hits home that they destroy families. And you're willing to just overlook all this stuff because you see a woman that you like that's part of this cult and you want to join it. You're talking about people that have zero integrity. Zero, and they don't care about anything other than themselves. Woman over here I don't care if she's part of a church, a cult. I'm about to join this bad boy and get with this girl. She's struggling, working on these houses. It's taking all day. She's only got a frozen dinner to eat. I don't care. I'm a pioneer so I ain't going to just focus on working and providing for her so she don't have to do that. I'm going to pioneer and knock on doors so I can pursue prominence with an organization. I care about if she's knocking on doors and having TV dinners and KKKs. That's just the typical JW family. You got a man that don't care about his own family. Think about the Bethel family. Samule Herd is a governing body member, right? Well, I would love to have been in the room when they had the meeting trying to decide how they were going to downsize. because apparently the decision was reassigning means bring Marcus, that's why I'm ex-Walkill Bethelite, to a room and tell him that they're looking to make cuts and that he's one of those cuts. And then shortly after to start packing his stuff, and then he's out the door. I would love to have been in the room with Samule Herd and they're discussing this as a good idea. Just keep in mind, this is a man that knows what it's like to not have much and be pretty dangerously close to poverty and not having the things that you need. So if you have a quote unquote Bethel family, this is supposed to be his family, and he knows that a lot of these people, their families aren't rich. Some of their families may be in other countries. Some of these people are from other countries. Some of their parents may not still be living. Watchtower didn't care. Watchtower could care less. Samule Herd could care less. How did he get there? Saying whatever about racism being okay to please the people around him. Doing whatever, having his wife out, KKK out there, having her out there with him, so he can look good to an organization. So Samule Herd doesn't step up and say, wait a minute, we're not about to start telling these people to just hit the door. That ain't about to happen. Samule Herd doesn't say that. He's like, well, we do need to make better use of dedicated funds, so let's just start putting people out. This is the type of person these people are. And Samule Herd in that article, just to put the cherry on top of the cake of how important it is for him to feel important, says that he felt like a prophet. He felt like the prophet Amos. How you gonna just put yourself on a pedestal and say you feel like a prophet? You ain't done no profiting. You ain't done nothing. What do you do? The things that the GB does, I could do. I mean, they get on a broadcast and say stuff that's not that intelligent. Toni Morris with the tight pants thing. I could have thought of something better than that. Most people could. And I don't know of a single thing that Samule Herd specific has done other than talk about women having smaller brains. This is the type of man that this woman married. A man that's walking around talking about women having small brains. He's on he's been recorded saying that. And a man that had her out knocking on doors and whatnot, and thought knocking on doors was more important than providing for her, and has her out there with KKK and everything. So you comment down below, let me know what you think. 937-789-4029. We'll discuss it. Ex-Walkill Bethelite signing out.